This is Kazway Cassiopeia. You are listening to 108live.radio. Hi there, welcome to 108live.radio. This is Kazway Cassiopeia. I'm a tarot card reader, artist, creator, and publisher of tarot. I'm also a psychologist and energy healer. I have my own practice in Johannesburg, South Africa as a life coach. I'd like to welcome you to my show, Interactive Tarot. The show is not only about tarot cards, although bits and pieces of tarot-related topics will be covered. Along with carrying out live tarot readings, it is just simply full of insights of a way of life, philosophy, science, and spirituality, most of the time involving guests who are in the field of health, wellness, and or spirituality. If you have any question or suggestion, please contact me by emailing to mail@cassiopeia.com. Cassiopeia is spelled Kashiopia. You can also check out my website, www.cassiopeia.com. Interactive Tarot is aired every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. live here on 108live.radio. Stay tuned in. So I usually start talking about something about tarot at the beginning of the show. And we got a guest here today, Aurora. Hi. She's a specialized kinesiologist and a neuro-organizational technique practitioner. And she does family constellations. She's very intuitional. Would you call yourself psychic?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then that's fine. So we'll be talking about her later. We'll be having a discussion about what she does, what her passion is, what her calling is, etc. Well, as I said, I usually start talking about something about a tarot. And I just found out, Aurora and I just met right before the show. And I had thought that her name Aurora is quite interesting because I used to live in Norway and I have seen Aurora, Northern Lights, and it's really fantastic. But then she told me that she's her background, ethnic, I don't know if you can say that, but racial, ethnic background is Jewish, although she got blonde hair, but and blue eyes. But she's Jewish, and her name, she shared her Jewish name, and her name starts with Aleph. And I thought, okay, Aleph is the card of the Fool, the tarot card Fool, and Aleph means ox, and ox is what's the word? Plow, like put air into soil.
To
plow, yes, plow. Sorry, my English. Goodness gracious. So ox will, use some tool, like it's a hook to a tool to aerate soil to prepare growth for further usage of the ground. So it's like a real foundation. And I thought it was very interesting that, it's like somebody with the name Aleph came through today and didn't even know. And I have to say, this has to be my last interactive tarot with Kazway, because I have decided to go back to Japan in January. So it'll be the last time I'll be airing. Short while, but I'm sure I'll be back one way or the other. So I'm sure we'll all keep in touch. And Aleph is, the character Aleph is, it's the beginning, but also it is the end. It's Aleph and a Tau. Tau is the last character. It's like a Alpha and Omega. Things go around in circle. it's the beginning, then beginning is the end, the ending is beginning. And I thought that's you brought a message to me that it's the beginning and end. There's no real end. It just life continues, you know.
Things create new beginnings.
Yeah. So, alrighty, Aurora. And the other guest, of course, is Atma. Hi, Atma. You're not part of the furniture. You do all the technical work for us. So, yeah. And so, Aurora, let's talk about you.
Hello.
So, may I ask what directly specialized kinesiology is?
So it's a wonderful modality allowing the person to heal on a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual level, because everything is connected.
Everything is connected and everything is energy.
Yes.
And I have gotten basic modality of a kinesiology, and with that I'll be going back to Japan. But the more study I did on kinesiology, I figured out that I myself had some kind of block toward this energetic connection of the mind and body. Like I thought I didn't, but I realized that there is part of doubt within me that, you know, we are all energy, and emotions is energy, meridian is energy.
Exactly.
You know.
And the beautiful thing about it is it enables us to go right in, and I love calling it a licorice all sorts session.
Oh.
Because we do, using the psychic stuff, using the intuitive stuff, using everything that I've learned. It's just such a blessing to be able to facilitate sessions like that and to allow the client to discover what sabotage programs are holding them back.
Yes.
Or negative thought patterns are holding them back.
Sometimes they are not even aware of what they are holding, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but it actually uncovering what they are hiding is really the key to their, say, further enlightenment or development.
It's very exciting because often they carry such hurt, baggage,
Yeah.
And they have to be loyal to the hurt or the pain or the grief. And it's almost like a little part of them doesn't want to let it go. And when to be able to facilitate helping them to realize that they can, and they can look at the issue or the episode or whatever in a completely different way, and they can change their lives.
It's very interesting that you use the word loyal, and that's exactly what it is. We all stick to our familiarity, and we don't even know that we are just following old pattern that.
And yes, and carrying the family's trauma or the family's, it almost gets drummed into one. It's in the genes, and people, get programmed into believing these things.
Yes.
And it's absolutely not correct. DNA changes all the time. We have the power to change our thoughts, and our thoughts change our realities. So we are actually very powerful beings, every single person who's alive.
And as I said, I studied kinesiology, and the more I studied, I realized my own blocks. That do I truly believe that I have gotten power to change my reality? And I had to go deep down into that idea. Like I had known it by theory that of course whatever God is, but that divine energy of the universe has created all this, and we're all part of it. And of course we reflect that power. But along the way in my life, I think there was a part of me that kind of blocked that divine energy from myself, and I felt like, well, I know God has that power, but I don't, sort of thing. And it was quite a shock to realize, although I know by theory that of course we are all came from the same place, all part of that divine, ultimate divine energy of the all creation, to really feel it within. It's
exactly, and the kinesiology can help us absolutely to access that.
Yes. And get over that bridge. It seems like there is maybe not far, but deep valley.
A lot of people consciously will say something and consciously will believe it, but subconsciously they don't.
Yeah,
And subconsciously
yes.
they're blocking it. So it's about marrying the two, getting them to talk to each other and realizing that they can look differently at the situation and start believing.
And as I'm going back to Japan, that sort of idea is something I really have to embrace to deep level, so that I can let them understand they all have gotten that power as well. Because in Japan, it's such a restrict country, and they don't have freedom. They don't give themselves freedom to be authentic self.
The tricky thing is when there's a lot of fear, if it's a culture or a religion or just the dogma, a lot of times people are scared to sort of branch out of that. And that's often where some of the problem is. So the beauty of the specialized kinesiology is it's for everybody. It doesn't matter what religion, what culture, what belief system. Everyone has the right to, essentially, to do life better.
So what is the difference between like a so-called normal kinesiology to specialized kinesiology?
So normal kinesiology is based on applied kinesiology.
Yes.
And in essence, it's muscle testing.
Muscle testing, yeah.
But the tricky thing is that when most people do a basic kinesiology course, they are not taught how to do all the pre-checks for the meridian that they're using. They don't even realize that there is a meridian that they're using. So for example, they'll learn a basic anterior deltoid to test a food or a medicine, and unfortunately then they think they're a kinesiologist.
Oh, okay. Then in that case, I'm probably beyond the basic, because my teacher actually told me to do all the meridian checks and other treatment modalities as well.
So, for example, with the client, before we actually begin the session, there are about 13 what we call pre-checks. So, to test and if we need to correct, so that we can then trust that muscle that we are using as our indicator muscle.
Yes.
Because we can't just go what I call party trick. If I'm explaining to someone, I'll give them the party trick version and tell them to say their name is, for example, my name is Kaz, it will hold strong, we'll get a lock. And if I tell you to say my name is Matilda, we'll get an unlock. That would be party trick version. But to start the session, we're working with real stuff. So we need to know how to check, are you blocking? Are you switching? Is there something you don't want me to see? Is there dehydration in your system, which is self-sabotage? And so on and so on. So we check a whole lot of things, and then sometimes the whole session could just be clearing those blockages and sabotage things that wouldn't even allow us to get beyond that point.
Do you combine? I'm sure you will have to combine your intuitional skill.
Yes.
I mean, it just comes out naturally, doesn't it, for you?
Absolutely. And I really feel so blessed to have that, to be able to experience that. It's just so delicious.
Oh, delicious is a nice word. I love the way you use the language.
And I always get shivers. So the shivers come in, and it's almost as an affirmation. So when the client walks in, they come in with their guides. I've got my guides. We've got angelic beings. So I work completely in the light. And I just trust if anything comes through, I'll always check if it's appropriate to tell the client. And most clients, 99.9% of clients, are really excited to get messages from a past loved one, or just a message from one of the angels. Those kind of messages can be very exciting and life-changing.
Absolutely. And I can only imagine that because you're using your gift to help people, your gift will be deepened by the universe, doesn't it?
And I always make sure to let the client know that it's not me.
Yes.
When they say, oh wow, you're so amazing, it's not me.
It's not,
All I am doing, I am so grateful to be able to have the gift of facilitating. I need to know what I'm doing as a facilitator. But all I'm doing is helping them to help themselves. So if that's what can happen, then it's been an awesome session.
Oh, I know how that goes. Tarot reading is also the same. As I told you, I have created my own tarot deck.
That's awesome.
It took 25 years to study it. and draw it actually. And it is not me who's doing the message. It's I connect to the
I know exactly
higher.
what you're saying. It's almost like I say that I'm a conduit.
Yes,
And it comes
is.
through, and how wonderful.
Yeah, and so it's I believe it's quite relieving that we don't actually have to think that much. Actually, thought, we have to put aside our thoughts.
Yes.
And just
The ego
trust.
aside, yes.
Like a Christian say, faith is very important. I don't have any, I don't belong to any organized religion, but
yes.
I have gotten that faith that, if I trust, the answer will come.
And complete trust in the universe.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's so important.
Yes.
And it's relieving that I don't have to put egotistical effort.
We need to put ego aside.
Yes, we do. Otherwise, it won't work. So, and ego can become so difficult on us. It makes us worried. What if I'm not right? It can sometimes come up. What if I can't do this? What if something like this comes up? It's no, it doesn't matter because I'm just being a mediator. It's just being a mediator, and as you say, it's conduit. So, yeah. And how do you incorporate your neural organizational technique, and what is it?
So we call it N.O.T for short. It is the most wonderful modality.
Oh.
It also falls under the umbrella of Specialised Kinesiology.
Okay.
So you have to have that as well. It is fantastic for getting the client out of freeze or fight or flight if they've been through a very traumatic experience.
Oh, okay.
It's wonderful. It's also a beautiful modality to use for people who don't like to talk. A lot of men, a lot of teenagers don't like to talk about their stuff.
Of course.
So even though it's a far more physical way of working, we're working on meridians, on organs.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with emotions, we're dealing with all sorts of blocked stuff, trauma that's held. It's just a different way of accessing it. And very often we need to do both.
Okay.
So we do what we call the neuro training and the N.O.T.
Okay.
And under those umbrellas come all sorts of other things.
Oh,
so I
wow.
also do access, I do color therapy, I do angel readings, do sound, essences, or all sorts of things. So then intuitively and with the muscle testing and with everything we do our yummy licorice, all sorts.
Oh, nice.
And then generally the client leaves feeling lighter. And there was a little girl, I can't remember exactly how old she was, maybe 10 or 11. We did a session and she got off the bed and she said, "Aurora, I feel like I've lost weight." And that was just such a beautiful way of saying I feel lighter.
Oh, wow.
So that was lovely.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Just
Not carrying that heavy, the burden of the pain or the grief or the loss or the, whatever sadness or anger or whatever it is the person's
So you
harboring.
work with the little kids as well?
Yes, if they are very little, I prefer to surrogate
Okay.
on the mums or another person because they really are too small to sit still, and you spend more time babysitting and trying to get them to keep quiet and thinking of very creative ways of doing that. So and I've got lots of lovely little ways of enticing them, so it's great. I can do it, but I personally prefer to surrogate through the mum because we can actually get far more done that way. And we've had some wonderful results. Just often if a mum wants to book a session for their child, I actually do a session on the mum for the mum.
Okay.
And very often that's what the child needed.
Yeah.
Because the children actually carry the parents' stuff.
Yes, I can only, I know and I imagine at the same time. Yeah. Do you teach?
I am in the process of doing workshops.
Okay.
And I've been asked by quite a few of my clients, when am I going to teach? When am I going to teach? So it will all happen at the right time. But I have got some lovely workshops lined up for next year. And, just to give some lovely information for the layman to know if they're feeling ungrounded, some basic corrections to be able to do, and how to release certain things, and the color that goes with the particular chakra and the particular element, or I'm in the process of writing up a few lovely workshops.
Cool.
I'm quite excited about
Yeah,
that.
so do you combine all your knowledge to create your workshop?
Yes.
Yeah, I have heard that, or I also believe in this theory that instead of becoming number one, because not becoming the number one involves the idea of competition, but you just be only one. That if you know your stuff, and if you become the only one who's doing what you do, then there won't be any competition.
And I believe that there is enough for everybody.
Everybody, yes.
I believe that the universe is so abundant, and every single person has a right to be as abundant. And when I say abundance, I mean in absolutely every way. So
Yes,
there will be
yes.
plenty clients for everybody.
Yes.
There will be a plenty abundance,
Yeah,
health, happiness, everything.
yeah. And I know that by theory, but there is a part of me, my ego, is still concerned. How am I gonna advertise myself in Japan? Am I gonna get clients? It's
So already you're allowing the fear to be there,
yeah,
and you're blocking.
So it's like, no.
So we need to cancel and change that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you better just let it go with the
Yes,
flow.
yes.
And sometimes there are signs in life where you just get into something and you just ace through.
So a lovely thing is just to remember the universal laws. So where we put our energy, or where we put our attention, that's what we're going to create more of.
Yeah,
So if
resonate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if we fear something, we're going to create more fear. And we worry, how can I, oh my gosh, will I, how do I, can I, we're putting so much energy into that. So that it leaves very little energy left over for the positive stuff.
It's so
It's
good
just to change them.
Exactly. And it's so good to hear, because I know it by theory. I tell my clients, however, when it comes to me, am I practicing what I talk about, and I do catch myself just an ego flicking into my mind going, oh.
So a lovely tool, if it's appropriate to test, often if a client is going through a very negative space, I would check if I need to find a negative emotional charge, percentage, and then we do, and usually it's really, really high at the beginning of the session, and then,
otherwise they wouldn't be there to start out.
So when I say negative, it could be anything. It could be anger, it could be rage, it could be anxiety, it could be depression, it could be worry, it could be fear, it could be any of those, and many others that fall in the same bracket. And then what's lovely at the end of the session, when we are busy doing post checks, to then test for that percentage. And then usually it's come a lot down, and it's not about the number. It's just to show them, their conscious minds, that a lot of people are very much in their left brain, the logical brain. And then so that they can see that it's gone, let's just say it was in the 80s and it's gone down, for example, to the 20s. And then I would test if this is appropriate for them or not. If it is appropriate, then that's great, because it might go down as they process what the session involved, and as they let go of their stuff. Sometimes it would take a day or two, an hour or two. That number would even go down further. So it's not about the number.
Exactly.
And if it would not be appropriate, if it would be not appropriate for them, then we get permission to do more and bring it down further. So
I'm actually learning.
So in essence, they are leading the session. Their higher self leads the session.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I love it.
Higher self. How would you explain your...
Everybody has a higher self. It's got nothing to do with religion. It's like, some people like to say good angel, bad angel, or good... what's the expression? The one on the one shoulder is the good one, and the one on the other shoulder is I don't like the word bad, but that connotation. So it's almost like the higher self. Everyone has a soul. Everyone has what you can do or want to do, and everyone has a negative self. Every single person who is alive,
everyone is yin and yang.
Yes, and that negative self is ego, and ego is fear. And as we are born, we have an ego. So it's not ego in the normal traditional sense that we usually use it. So we then have to get the shadow self to move out the way
Yeah.
and become smaller. And
Or let
ideally
that-
eventually go away.
Or let light shine on shadow, then shadow
Exactly.
won't be shadow
Exactly.
anymore.
So if we are in the light and we live in the light and we talk to ourselves in light rather than so many people go, oh, you're so stupid, you this, you that, and they talk to themselves in the most disgusting way.
People do that to themselves, don't they?
Exactly. So
Like-
a lot of the time I have to educate the client on how to talk to themselves.
Yeah.
Self-talk, self-think, huge. Absolutely huge.
So this is like an ongoing process then.
Yes, but the nice thing about it is as we start teaching them, we call it neurotraining. So we changing their neural pathways and changing, and I test every single correction we do. We don't actually use the word correction in the session. We call it a B&O, a better neurological option. So we offer them something that is more appropriate for them. So I would test through, I might have 4,000 different corrections or B&Os and would test what is appropriate for them and then do said correction for them and then make sure that they've got it. If they haven't got it, do what's necessary for them to make sure that their brain does get it, that it's appropriate for them and that they haven't suppressed it. Because we don't want to just put an effective band-aid on it so that it will come back in 3 days' time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We want to know that onion layer, I'm sure you know the onion
No,
layer
yes,
language,
absolutely.
that particular onion layer is gone forever. So one session might be enough on a particular theme or issue, or we might need to do more.
Sure.
More is guided by the client.
Yeah,
And
like
it's not sort of a one size fits all.
yeah, and usually people have people's apparent issue is just a tip of the iceberg,
Absolutely.
and it's like onion layers and
Yes.
layers and
Yes.
under layers, and
Exactly.
you shed one layer, but then you might find something else that was underlying.
And the beauty of it is that very often the client will come for something physical, and we do a very emotional, mental, energetic type of session, and the physical thing releases.
Yeah, I believe that physical actually almost is the last
It's a manifestation.
manifestation.
Absolutely. It comes from the mental and emotional stuff, and then it's the body's way of giving us a message.
Yeah, and it's like the mind had been screaming out loud, but we weren't listening.
Exactly. So the only way for us to actually talk to ourselves is through, well, there are other ways, but most people don't hear them. So if they are not open to that, their physical body will tell them. And then they'll
Yeah.
get the sore shoulder, the sore back, or the cysts, or the acne, or whatever physical thing wants to manifest.
Yeah.
And very often, for example, people will have huge anger issues. They'll have their gallbladder removed. But it doesn't stop the anger
Oh,
just because they have the organ removed.
yeah.
Or
Wow,
someone
that's
who has cancer and the chemo or whatever they choose
Yeah.
clears the cancer. If they don't clear the thought patterns, the cancer will come back in another shape or form.
I totally believe that that is the limitation of a Western modern medicine.
So yes, so there's a time and a place, and there's a wonderful time and a wonderful place for westernized medicine.
Yeah.
So I'm not dissing it.
Yeah.
However, a lot of people, that would be their first port of call.
Hmm.
And I remember meeting a young girl, maybe 12 or 13, and she happened to be talking about migraines and telling about a drug, a prescription drug that she was taking. So parents automatically give their children these very intense drugs. I don't know what
Synthetic.
schedule they would be.
Yeah.
Whereas possibly doing a metaphysical session or
Yeah,
emotional session,
yeah.
they could get rid of those headaches.
The whole world needs to know this. You know, Chinese medicine is what? 5,000 years old?
Yes.
You know.
So we use Chinese medicine
Yes,
and the 5
incarnate
elements.
Yeah.
So the fire, earth, metal, water, wood, and all the emotions attached to that and the organs attached to that.
Yes.
So everybody goes through that cycle twice every 24 hours.
And it's quite interesting that those organs can be metaphysical sense as well.
Yes.
Well, in Japan, for many, many, many years, I don't know how long, 1,000 years, ever since China and Japan started having contact with each other. Well, Chinese medicine, of course, was their modality of medicine.
Yes.
But as Westerners came to Japan, I think they were Dutch people came to Japan because they weren't religious. They weren't strictly Christians, Dutch people in Japan. So Japan was open to their culture, and Japanese started learning Western medicine from Dutch people, and they started doing cadaver dissection, and they realized that, or they thought, what they had been practicing and believing in Chinese medicine was so different from a Western medicine, and they decided to dismiss traditional Chinese medicine or Eastern medicine because the descriptions of organs are different. It's like, no, physically, this organ is here and that organ is that, and it has nothing to do with that, five-pointed star theory.
Well, I think Chinese medicine is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It is.
The wonderful thing about the modality that I do, it will complement other holistic modalities.
Yes.
As they will complement what clients will come to me for.
Yeah.
And everybody needs whatever they need to put. It's like holistic is about making them whole.
Yeah.
So I will definitely refer, for example, to an acupuncture therapist or a Chinese practitioner, and they would refer to me, because often there are clients that need both things. Reflexology, for example, will use the meridian points in the feet, and we often use the acupressure points if there's a specific one we need to talk to, or to get two meridians to talk to each other. So they're very connected.
It is very connected, and one of the reasons why I'm feeling calling to go back to Japan is that, I'll be just a small pebble in water.
And
but
if you think about it, that little pebble, you drop it into an ocean or into a lake, it's tiny, but it ripples. And as it ripples, all it takes is one little circle, and then it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So go and be that tiny little thing and start it.
And now that I have gotten so many people, even though I might be a little pebble, I can actually bring all the forces into that country and spread words, because in the West nowadays, people are realizing more and more of the importance of bringing in preventative medicine and also energy psychology, energy medicine.
So I've seen over the years, when I first started practicing, there were very few men. You'd be interested to hear this. Very, very few men. And now the percentage has grown.
Oh, good.
Women are still, it's the bigger
dominant,
percentage, yes. But a lot more men are open to it, which is wonderful.
That is, and also that's a reflection of how world can change.
That
and
it's not just scientific.
Yeah, and as I said, about 200 years ago, attitude toward medicine in Japan changed, and I think Japanese people are more afraid or skeptical of energy medicine, but there are certainly people who are open. So what I need to do is just contact them. And because I'm just a small pebble, I can still bring other people in.
Even if you can change one person's life, that person will pay it forward by whatever knowledge they've learned or whatever interesting things they've learned in that session. They'll tell their husband or their children, and they might talk to others.
Isn't that,
and so on and so on.
Isn't that interesting that I am from the East, Far East, and I actually ended up learning Eastern medicine and preventative medicine in Western countries.
Yes.
It's just so ironic. And so now I'm ready to go back and spread that.
Yes.
And this has been well, we still got 30 more minutes, but this has been such an awesome session, this radio show with you, Aurora, because it really ties in what I'm going to be doing. And
everything is about synchronicity.
It is.
Nothing is coincidence.
As I said,
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Everything is so synchronistic.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. In fact, I like thinking about things in that ripple effect kind
Yes.
of analogy you had with the pebble.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
I've always
ripple
thought about
effect,
how everything's.
And it's so powerful. And I can't remember who it was that said it, but all we need to do is see enough light to take that next step. And then once we've taken that next step, we need just enough light to take the next step. So it's about the journey, and it's actually very exciting.
You have to take the first step to climb the highest mountain.
And you don't want to just know about the destination because you miss all the yumminess on the way.
True, you got to enjoy. You have to enjoy every step that we take,
Absolutely.
every mouthful that we take.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we lose in busy modern Western, even Japanese life, we lose that sense of joy. We forget to enjoy what we are tasting, the steps that
So
we're
I
taking.
think, one can't even limit that to a particular country. I just think so many people, the stresses, for example, young kids now, as opposed to when we were young kids, and I sound archaic, it's different. We played on the playground and we played with netballs and soccer balls and marbles and elastics and skipping ropes and dolls and fairies and now every child is just glued to technology. And I understand that there's a wonderful place for technology, but children need to be encouraged to be children
Yes.
and not get thumb syndrome or whatever. And there's going to be a lot of learning difficulties later on because they're not exercising those gross motor skills that they need to be. And never mind all the radiation and everything that comes from that. So, there's a lot more packed into young people's life, and not only young people, everybody. It's all about instant gratification. You've got your cell phone glued to you at all times. You can't even go out for coffee with someone without them being on their cell phone. People need to learn to be present.
Yeah, to be present.
To be present and enjoy every moment. So if you're meeting a friend, even if you have a half hour out of your busy day, put your cell phone down for half an hour and enjoy engaging with that person.
Yeah, it is always about right here, right now.
Being mindful, being present.
Yes. That's very profound. So how can people contact you?
So my cell number is 083-251-0029. And obviously if I'm in a session or can't speak, they can just leave a message, or they can, an SMS or WhatsApp is perfect. Or otherwise my email address is Aurora @Kinesiology for Life. So
Do you have a website or Facebook?
I do have a website. It's www.kinesiologyforlife.co.za, and the 4 is the number 4.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, Facebook?
No, I haven't done a Facebook page.
Okay.
So
Oh, you should. I mean, you should. Yeah.
Word of mouth is the best form of advertising.
Yeah.
But yes, a lot of people are saying I should do more social media.
Yeah, well, and also, we can keep in touch.
Yes, I
Facebook
would
is
love
an
that.
easy way of keeping in touch.
I do have a little gentle Facebook thing, but it's more sort of personal, and I've tended to stay low underneath the radar. But it's people find you if they're meant to.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, in this way, I'd love to reach people who would love to work on themselves. And it's not about me fixing them, it's about them wanting to work on themselves and me being able to facilitate
Again,
that.
you said the keyword, wanting.
Yes.
They have to want to.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you deal with clients who actually don't want to, or do you?
Well, for example, if someone says, my husband really needs to make an appointment for my husband, I will say, that's great, please ask your husband to contact me. Because that's the first step. If the husband doesn't want to, he won't.
Yeah.
They need to pick up the phone
Yeah.
and either phone or message. That's the first step. And obviously, they need to give me permission to work. The very first time that they're on the bed, I get permission. I ask for verbal permission and I test if they are giving me permission. So I once, many years ago, on a lovely, lovely client who we'd worked on other things, he wanted to stop smoking. So he booked a specific stopping smoking session, and that needs a specific permission because it's a whole protocol in itself. The whole session is just that. So verbally he said, oh yes, I'm so ready. And then I tested and I didn't get permission.
Deep down, he didn't want to.
So he said, I want to, that's why I'm here. And I knew him well, and I'd worked on other things with him. And I tested again, I checked that he wasn't blocking or switching or anything like that. He did not give me subconscious permission. So then I tested it a little bit further. He was on a motorbike, and I said, have you got your cigarettes in your motorbike? He said, yes. I said, okay, go fetch them, bring them inside, and we're going to throw them away. And he said, no, it's fine. I'll do that
wow.
later.
Oh, that's
yes.
No, you didn't even need testing.
Exactly. So he didn't give me permission, but he really wanted to work. So then we tested, do we have permission to work on something else? And we got a yes, and then we did a beautiful session on something else. And then that particular client, 3 months later, we got permission to do that, and we did it.
Yeah, so like a, iceberg, onion layer.
Onion layers. So we had to, there's a lot of negative thought patterns or a lot of sabotage things. So we just had to work on more of those, because smoking is an addiction. Smoking is a smoke screen. People put that up so the world doesn't see them, or they don't see the world in reality. It's a beautiful tool that we can use to keep us away from being seen.
And you are the mirror to the client.
Absolutely.
And without a mirror, we can't see ourselves, right?
Yes.
So even though that guy was saying that he wants to stop smoking, he probably couldn't see himself.
Exactly. So it was useful to him, and then not to judge himself. So he was only ready 3 months later. So part of it was, okay, I would like to, but I really don't feel ready at this particular point. So I'm going to be kind to myself, and as soon as I feel ready, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Rather than judging.
Judging oneself.
Exactly. And then we did it, and then he actually emigrated, but up until he emigrated, he still hadn't started smoking again, so he was still a non-smoker. I hope wherever he is, I hope he is still a happy non-smoker.
It's interesting that it took him 3 months to see himself, to see what were those blocks.
So we obviously had to work on clearing other sabotages to allow that.
Yeah.
And then he made wonderful progress.
I'm personally learning a lot in this session because it's not just about me now, It's about what do I contribute, So I'm really learning a lot from you.
Oh, that's great. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank
so
you.
much for having me.
Yeah. I usually do a short, quick, like a one card reading for the client, or not client, the guest.
Okay.
If you would like. So let me just shuffle the cards first, and let's see. I'll just do the shuffling, and I guess it doesn't matter because you're the one who's picking the card anyway. So okay, pick the one that you feel like.
That one's looking at me.
Alrighty. What came up? Oh, the N. Traditionally, this card is called Judgment. And it's not judgment about like a negative judgment. It's about like in a Christian sense, not quite a karma, but not doomsday. What is that in English Christian word that at the end of the day, an angel comes and blows a trumpet
Revelation?
Revelation? Yeah, I think so. It's like it shows you what you have been doing, and whether you get to go to heaven or hell, that judgment sort of thing, like bigger sense. But it's an old view. Such judgment is old view. The Aeon card is it's about renewal, and I am getting message that it's a renewal. What you do is a renewal for people. It's to let them see that what they have been doing and what they can say farewell to become what they are more supposed to be, or what they really truly, what their soul wants to become.
So the judgment, a lot of people will judge themselves, and a lot of people in my life have judged me for being different. Could be that maybe as well. I always tell people it doesn't matter what people say or think about them.
I just thought, but I guess I got judged a lot in the past, so like I know how that goes, and I'm not being like surprised or like appalled about it. It just, but that was good to be on that side, wasn't it? Like to be judged, so that
and
you
also
know.
to know that nobody can judge anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, like I'm not saying it's good to be abused. I'm not at all saying that, but
it's such growth.
It is. It actually like to experience pain. It makes people like push further if they engage in their internal strength. That is, because there are people who will just give in to the pain and they won't get out.
There are a lot of people who will be stuck in victim mode.
Yeah.
And not ready to move on.
Yeah.
And they would fall into that, in that category of the being loyal to the pain. But it's wonderful seeing that so many more people are ready to let it go. So there's a reason why they went through that, and not to judge themselves for taking so long to get out of it, or so long. Like someone will say to me, oh, they got my card 5 years ago, and why did they only book now? And I say, well, maybe now's the right time. Don't judge yourself.
And you know that what we are talking about, it is all tied to this card. N is about time. It means era. It's a new era. It's a new time.
And I think all of us at some point in time judge ourselves, or have judged ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So it's a beautiful message. Let go of the old and embrace the new.
Embrace the new. Yeah. Let go of old. Say farewell. Good farewell. And embrace new, become new, and you have gotten the power. It's the card of one of the cards that belongs to fire element.
Oh, nice.
And fire is it's the element of spirit. It burns by itself. It just burns, and that's how our spirits and souls are.
Nice.
Oh,
that's lovely.
Cool. Do you have any question, Atma?
I'm just taking it all in.
Cool. Oh. So we still got 10 more minutes, and we can more talk about. I think I'm quite interested in new N.O.T.
N.O.T.
Yeah.
Organisational technique.
Yeah. So you were saying that even like men or teenagers who don't like to talk. So how do you...
So what happens, we talk with N.O.T, we use the lingo as above, so below. So we have two brains. We have a cranial brain and we have a pelvic brain. So for example, if the person will fall and bump their coccyx or land on their coccyx and hurt their coccyx, then they might land up having headaches or migraines, because the coccyx is directly reciprocal to the very first vertebra, C1, which is in the head. So as above, so below, or as below, so above. And then the bladder meridian runs bilaterally along the spine. The bladder meridian is the longest meridian.
Yeah.
So it feeds into every single organ via the bladder meridian, into the different ribs, into the nervous system. So we might be doing, I'm checking if the head, because if a person is in fight or flight or even freeze, it's that deer in the headlights type of situation. So they're going to stop, the head's going to tilt forward, and if they are stuck in fight or flight, that head stays there. If you have a look how many people actually walk with their heads a little bit jolted forward. So their bodies, their physical bodies learn to adjust and almost reset around that, but it's not what they are destined to do life like. So the reptilian brain is active all the time.
Yeah.
So that's when there would be a lot more road rage, there'd be a lot more, anger sort of in the split second. The person will just lose their cool. That's because they're stuck in fight or flight. The trauma could have been when they were 3. Or the trauma could have been 2 days before. So it's a beautiful way of just checking in case they are stuck in fight or flight in any way. Most people are from something.
Sure. Yes.
You know, it could be they were bullied at school, or they had an abusive husband, or they got hijacked, or worse. And we can clear it via this amazing modality. It is very physical, so you're working on the actual body, whereas a lot of the time with the neurotraining, you're not doing physical corrections.
Okay.
Unless it's a neurolymphatic rub or a hold of a neurovascular.
Yeah.
With N.O.T, we can do all sorts of things. There are 24 levels of it. We always start at 1, even if we may only get to number 11 at the end of the session. We always start again at number 1 because new things could be there that have come in or are now ready to be
Again,
released.
layers and layers.
Layers and layers.
Yeah.
We can address allergies, we can address autoimmune things, we can address so many things with N.O.T and with neurotraining, and with color therapy and with sound therapy. So very
you
often
can combine.
Yes, we combine absolutely everything.
I find it so interesting that there's so many things that we can do to work on human bodies. Like how like it's interesting that how problematic it can be.
Yes,
and
how easy it is to
yeah.
sort out. So often you find it's literally one little thing that needs clearing or reintegrating in a different way, and sometimes one session is enough. You can do an allergy in one session.
And it gets cleared?
It can get cleared because
Wow.
most of the time allergies are from some emotional pain.
That as well.
So I myself, I've always used to be able to eat nuts, and then I developed quite an intense nut allergy many years ago. And then we did an emotional allergy session. I did a swap with another kinesiologist, and we worked on each other, and lo and behold, I can eat nuts, and I even had nuts this morning.
Wow, you can actually
Yes.
get over something like that.
Absolutely. So there are so many wonderful things. So that was with a neurotraining
So
allergy diffusion.
you don't just like in kinesiology, there are things that you should avoid. Yeah, add, delete. Like they will just take away certain things.
Yes, so, very often an entry-level client might ask me to test foods for them,
Yeah.
which we certainly can do. But the point is that, and that's fine, if someone is needing to, we don't have to take a whole session to do food testing. So in basic kinesiology, they would teach you how to do the muscle testing for that, and it's a lovely starting point. However, very, very seldom do we actually do stuff like that. We can take 3 seconds to just quickly test through if there's a specific food or something that they shouldn't be having or they should be avoiding, or if it's appropriate to desensitize them to that food.
So
if someone is sensitive to alcohol, for example, it might be in their best interests not to clear that.
Yeah.
And rather let them be sensitive to alcohol, because
Okay, yes.
the good does not outweigh the bad in being sensitive to alcohol. So whereas, for example, if someone is sensitive to tomatoes, let's just say, that might be worth clearing, because tomatoes might be in so many different things.
Yeah.
Or nuts, or so to again test if it's appropriate, or if it's an allergy, or if it's a sensitivity. There's different things to do.
That's
so
again, I'm learning that it's not just about deleting something from somebody's life, but allow them to cope with it. Like ask the body, like what
Exactly.
is the best.
And very often a person develops allergies because they're not coping emotionally with whatever they're facing. So then they could be eating a type of food at the time that they're thinking these terrible thoughts, or these sad thoughts, or these how's life ever going to get better type of thoughts, and then that gets transposed onto the poor little innocent food, or the innocent nut.
Yeah. How about gluten? What's your take on gluten?
So gluten, a lot of people are more sensitive than allergic.
Yeah.
But that's not because of the actual gluten. That's because of the pesticides and all the stuff that the farmers will spray on to help it grow easily so that they can pick it easily.
That's like my favorite. subject.
Yeah, yes. So, the poor gluten gets blamed. But if it was grown in the proper way, then there wouldn't be so many people that were gluten intolerant. So it's more pesticide or GMO or those type of things.
Yeah, I sometimes bake bread. I make pizza, and
So if you are baking it naturally,
Yes.
and you're using,
stone ground.
for example, stone ground
Yeah.
is far healthier.
And I don't get
eating bread
reaction.
like that, then you won't
Yeah.
have a reaction.
See, like nobody gets reaction from what I bake.
Exactly. So then there's nothing wrong. So a lot of people think, oh, they have to stay away from carbs. But ideally, our bodies need everything. It's all about moderation and what works for our bodies. And, we could test what time of day the person possibly shouldn't have the said ingredient. But ideally, we all are, we should have the types of bodies that can cope with if the food is grown the correct way and
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
then our bodies need everything.
Yeah.
So stay away from anything that has GMO and ideally colorants and artificial flavorants and all of that stuff.
Preservatives
and exactly.
Yeah.
So the healthier you eat, the better, the healthier the body will be. So baking the bread like you've just mentioned, beautiful, enjoy it. You won't have an adverse reaction.
It's actually quite sad that there are no fixed regulations on genetically modified food substances here in South Africa.
Exactly, and a lot of people don't realize how detrimental it actually is to our systems.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like we have to get rid of people on the earth, but we
No.
have absolutely
But it
not.
would be nice to educate them.
Yes, educate them. And
Yes.
also, there are so many humans on the earth right now that without a chemical, there is a belief that without a chemical, we can't sustain adequate nutrition level.
So, there's lots of debates. So the more scientific, westernized based brains will say, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with radiation. There's nothing wrong with it. And technology is important. And yes, it is. But, it's all not to keep radiation right next to our brains all the time, for example.
Yeah.
And the same with food, to eat healthier, to eat the way it was meant to be, that, you feel like an orange, you go into the garden or the farm or the vegetable shop that has just picked it from their farm and pick it, and it's directly from the earth, and you buy enough for today and possibly tomorrow, and then you go the next day and you pick it from the ground. That's the way we should be eating, not buying stuff that amazingly it stays fresh in the fridge for 3 weeks.
No.
Well, that's a little bit worrying, because what are they putting into the soil or the pesticides, or what happens to make it last so long? Because if it's natural, it shouldn't.
I've been freaked out by this papaya that's been in my fridge since Manu went to India.
That's like a month ago.
Yeah, and I'm just, it's just now it's my little experiment. I'm always looking at it like,
Yes.
Oh, I have done a similar experiment with
Yes.
a croissant. It
And
didn't rot for 3 weeks.
And then it
Outside
makes
the
you
fridge.
wonder, what is it?
It's
But-
not food.
No. And then, we're putting that in. Obviously, everybody has to at some point in time eat that, but ideally, if we can most of the time be eating as healthily as possible, then our bodies should be able to handle it when we do those kind of things.
Yeah.
every now and again.
Actually, it has been such an educational session. Thank you so much, Aurora.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful and lovely to meet you.
Lovely meeting you
Good luck
too.
with your new adventure.
Thank you so much. We'll definitely keep in touch. I will keep in touch with 108 Live.radio.
hopefully we'll set up some sort
Something
of
international,
broadcast.
yeah. It's like we can be all like a little pebble
Yes,
thrown into
yes.
water. So I'm ready to embrace that. So,
That's awesome. Good luck.
thank you. So.
One last question: what happens when millions of little pebbles that are of the same vibration, not necessarily identical, because
Yes.
we're all unique,
Yes.
hit the water at the same
Well,
time?
how wonderful. And may that happen.
Yeah, may that happen.
May that happen. The more in light we are, the more, if there's a little pebble in one country or lots in the same country, the more we all operate from light, the more people we're going to be able to touch, and the more lives we're going to be able to help. And I'm getting shivers. So that's very exciting. That's beautiful. May that happen. What will it take to have that happen?
May that happen. Okay, now it's time to say goodbye. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Today's weekly guest was Aurora, and we talked about specialized kinesiology, etc., etc. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Atma, for hosting me all this time. Well, if you have any question about this show, like what's going to happen, anything, well, you can email to mail@cassiopeia.com. Well, thank you, everyone, both listeners and guests. It was interactive tarot on 108live.radio. Well, I'm Kazway, and your guide to tarot cards and holistic wellness. Sadly, this is the last show, but we'll definitely keep in touch.
Correction, it's not the last show.
It's not. It will never end. I'll come back sometime, so don't worry. Alrighty then. Well, until then, bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, that was wonderful.
This is Kazway Cassiopeia. You are listening to 108live.radio.